folks, welcome back. I have your latest home prices and insights for the City of Toronto for week ending September 22. I'm going to show you in this report what I believe you can expect for the fall market. Before I get into the report, I want to introduce you to a special guest, my son.
Hello, how's it going, guys? Thanks for all the support on these YouTube videos and all our social media. It's been really cool to see.
It's fun, a lot of fun.
My name is Daniel. I usually handle most of the stuff. I'm usually behind the camera. I handle the marketing and produce all these videos that you guys watch every week. So again, thank you for that.
I'm the one who talks, but he does all the work behind the scenes.
Yes, that is true. But I wanted to say that if you guys would like to schedule an appointment to speak to us about any of your real estate needs, whether it's buying, whether it's selling, whether it's general questions, there is a link in the description below. If you click, I think you have to click show more, and you'll see it says book a time to speak with Santo, and you click that link, it'll bring you to a calendar that's synced up with his calendar. And basically what happens is you put in your information and it'll make sure that whenever you're ready to speak, he's ready too. He's a busy guy. He's got a lot of phone calls, meetings, and different stuff that he's in. And usually it's difficult to randomly pick up a call.
Sometimes.
Even I can't get a hold of him sometimes. But if you book a time, guaranteed to speak to him. So link in the description below.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. We'll see you guys soon.
Okay, so thank you for that. Glad we had you on set today. I'm just kidding. He's the one who handles all the marketing for our team, does a phenomenal job. And yes, we're related. That's my son. I'm his dad. And I'm not just saying what a great job he is because we're family. He does a phenomenal job. We're lucky to have him instead of all the big corporations that are hunting for him right now. Before I started, I said I'm going to show you what we can expect for the fall market. As I get into the report, I'm going to bring up certain points that are going to, in my opinion, really show you what to expect for this fall. Okay, so here we have just the City of Toronto I'm talking about for detached properties. So sales this week went, went down slightly from the previous week, but I expect this is what we're going to see for more of the fall. So sales are higher than what they've been all summer long, but less than what they were for our March, April, and May earlier this year. So sales slightly over 200 is what I expect. Of the 219 that were sold, 43 sold at $2 million or more. 43 previous week was 56. This is where I believe we're going to be. Higher than the summer, lower than earlier the first and second quarter of this year. Let's look at average sold price. Average sold price has been going up for the last few weeks. Last week's average sold price for detached properties in the City of Toronto was $1,742,000. That's high. Our highest so far is sitting at $1,832,000. We're not that far. We're about $90,000 off. I know 90,000. I'm laughing because I say not that far. 90,000 is quite a bit. However, 90,000 could quickly, one week to the next, really be absorbed very quickly. And when we look at 1742, it is in the upper part of the average sold price for the year. And this is kind of where I expect prices to be, pretty either steady where they are now or slightly higher over the fall market. Compared to last year, we're sitting at 12% higher than last year's average sold price. And last year we sold 12 more properties at $2 million or more than what we sold this year. Of the 219 that were sold, 79% sold at list price or more. So it's very competitive, and the amount of properties selling at list price or more, the percentage-wise has been going up. So sales have gone up. There's more competition. This is what we're seeing. I expect more of that. Listings, well, the previous week we listed 413, which was up quite a bit from where we were over the previous few weeks. Last week we listed 397, so down slightly from the previous week. And my opinion is this is probably where we're going to be, around the 400, which is higher than where we've been in the summer, but lower than what we were in the earlier part of the year. And when we look at increased sales, the amount of listings that are going out there, months of inventory has been coming down over the last few weeks. We're now sitting at one month of inventory. It's up by 0.1 from the previous week. You won't even notice that. So 1 month of inventory. Days on market is a lot lower now. It's sitting at 12. It's a lot lower than where it's been over the course of the summer, where we had 20 and 18 and 16. So 12 is the average days on market. Months of inventory is coming down. If we go back the last few months, it's coming down over the last few months. Average sold price is going up. That's what I expect for detached for, in general, the city of Toronto. If we break Toronto down into 3 different sections, west, central, and east, here's what we're looking at. If we look at West Toronto, here's a quick summary. Average sold price has been going up. We sold 75 last week, which is up from the previous week where it was at 63. Days on market is only 10, the average days on market. I should explain for a quick second how we look at days on market. When a property gets listed, it could be listed 3, 4, 5 times, whatever the case may be, as it happens sometimes. But when the property finally sells, that listing, however long it was on the market, that's where we get the days on market. So it's listings really days on market versus property days on market. And this is just how we calculate it from the Toronto Real Estate Board. So the average days on market of the sold properties, of the sold listings, is 10. Sold at list price or more is at 75% for West Toronto. Very competitive. And we're sitting at 16% higher than last year's average sold price. Looking at Central Toronto for detached properties, average sold price has been coming down, sitting at just under 2.5 million. We sold 63 last week, which is up from 58 the previous week. Average days on market is 15. Now, the lion's share of the luxury properties, of the more expensive property, is in Central Toronto. So we do expect days on market to be higher than some of the other areas. But this is sold at list price or more, sitting at 78%. It's normally not that high in Central Toronto. And I'm talking about overall average. And we're sitting at 3% higher than last year's average sold price. Looking at East Toronto, which is where we normally see more activity, slightly lower average sold price. Well, we're sitting at $1,334,000 average sold price, which is quite high still for East Toronto. We sold 81, which is down slightly from the previous week. We're at 109 sales the previous week. Days on market is 11. 83% of those sales sold at list price or more. Extremely competitive. 83% feels like every property you're competing to buy for. And we're sitting at 13% higher than last year's average sold price. Let's take a real good look at the semi market. Now, I normally don't put this chart up for the semis, but I wanted to give you an overall kind of feel of what's happened for the whole year. If we're looking at semis, and we just kind of focus in the last few weeks here, well, sales are up quite a bit from where they were in the summer, but still less than where they were at the beginning of the year, which is a similar pattern to what we're seeing with detached properties. So 99 sold, 25 of those sold at 1.5 million or more. Average sold price is sitting at 1.3 million. Now, that's down from almost 1.4, and 1.4 million is the record price that we had back in May. If you kind of sit back and see the overall price, what's happened to the price of semis through the course of the year? Well, we started here in the highs, 1.3, 1.380, and over the course of the summer, average sold price has been coming down, but I feel we're about to get back up again for the semis. A quick snapshot over here, we're sitting at 0.5 months of inventory. So half a month of inventory for semis. There's virtually no stock out there. 87% have sold at list price or more for last week. That's extremely competitive. And we sold 99, well, we already saw that, but the average days on market is only 8, which is really hard to get that low of a number for days on market when a lot of the properties that are being listed have an offer date, which is normally 7 to 10 to 14 days in advance. So it's hard to get the average sold price that low. Let's take a long-term look at townhouses. This is just for the city of Toronto, and these are freehold townhouses. If we look back, sales up slightly. Now, we don't do a ton of sales of townhouses in Toronto. We sold only 28. The previous couple weeks, 23. When we really do well, we're in the 40s and the 50s. But 28, 23 is kind of where we've been for a good part of the summer. So there hasn't been a lot of change in townhouses there. When we look at the average price, it actually looks like, well, it's not that it looks like, it is. The average sold price for townhouses has been coming down through the course of the year. And townhouses started off the year extremely high as far as average sold price goes, but it's pretty obvious average sold price has been coming down, where last week it was sitting at $1,074,000, the average sold price for a townhouse. A quick snapshot here at months of inventory. We're sitting at 0.9 months of inventory. This average sold price of $1,074,000 is 8% lower than what it was last year at this time. And that's this particular week. In general, townhouses overall are higher than they were last year's average sold price. And 71% are selling at list price or more. But you can't wait. Even though average sold price is coming down in townhouses, you can't kind of take your time because the average days on market is 9. It's very low. Let's take a real close look at condos now. So much like the detached market, sales are up. They've been going up the last few weeks. Last week we sold 393 condos, which is slightly higher than what we've had all summer, but lower than what we've had in March and April this year. Taking a long-term look at pricing, condo prices have been going up on average through the course of the year. If we kind of look over here, 720, 730 or so, 740 over here. 767 was the high price of the year. It's a record price, by the way. It's been steady all summer, and now we're starting to see going up again. 766,000 was the average sold price of condos in the city of Toronto for last week, for week ending September 22nd. And that's just a few dollars short of the record of 767 that we've had earlier in the year back in June. Compared to last year, we're sitting at only 2% higher than last year's average sold price. That has to do with the weekly fluctuations, but generally speaking, we're about 10% higher than last year's average sold price. When we look at the 393 that were sold, it's also very similar to what we've been selling last year at this time, and 57% of those sold at list price or more. Listings, here's where we start running into a bit of a snag. We're not really seeing a ton more listings coming up, where last year we were listing over 1,100. This year we listed 745 for last week. Listings did come up over the course of what we had in the summer, but not that much, which is bringing average sold price down to 1.3. Days on market is now down to 17 from where we were at 20. And as average sold price comes down, you're going to see, as months of inventory comes down, you're going to see average sold price going up. Here's the overall summary for months of inventory. Market is tight. That's what I expect for the fall. I expect prices to stay where they are or go up. I expect months of inventory, unless there's any changes, I'm expecting things to kind of stay where they are or get more competitive. I'm not telling you that's good news or bad news. It's just news. That's the way it is. your real estate this position and what you're looking to do, buy or sell or do nothing, is going to determine whether that's good news or bad news for you. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.